Welcome back, my duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and I'm taking a bit of a break, just like a 1 day, 1 week break off of Speed Duel this week. And the reason is simple. I realized I haven't been doing enough with what I was calling my draft format and why I was doing it. And so, what I realized is this whole time what we've been doing is we've been adding some structure decks to the draft, like this one right here, LDK2. This is a legendary duelists structure deck. And one of the things we've been doing is we were adding straight up structure decks to a draftable format, which is fine, especially when you get a couple of cards in your extra deck. And again, depending on the structure deck, you get more than just a couple of cards. So that was one of the decks that we've added. I just pulled these out of there at random as well. I don't even, what is it? Oh, this is the stacks. This was one of those things that, like, I feel like Konami should have been doing all along, giving us more than one deck at a time. This has been shuffled. This one we actually ended up playing against something. Like, we got some old school hitters, like we got Sword Stalker and D-Mage. And then, of course, it's got stuff like Magician of Faith, TMG, the Swing of Memories, Cost Down, all the way to actually great cards like Eldritch, called the Haunted Book of Moon, Night Beam, a whole bunch of stuff. And then, like I said, this one's got a little more of an extra deck, but this one is just Xyz because this was stacks. But again, it comes with a couple of heavy hitters: Daigusto Emerald, Divine Arsenal, Zeus, Castel. These are not always great cards. I mean, Zeus is always pretty okay. Um, and then what we were doing, and we haven't done anything to where we filmed it yet, was we have these in a generic white long box, and we don't keep them written. We don't write on the tops of the boxes what's in them. That is one very cool and acceptable way to play draft. And then, of course, as time goes on, as you see more structure decks available, as Konami reprints them, puts them out into your local retail spaces, or maybe you just happen to go to another LGS and go, oh, geez, that structure that wasn't available, X months or X years ago, is just been sitting on the shelf at this locals. You go ahead and you nab that. So we've been doing this. We've been building this up. We've been finding some structures as we go. And then every structure that we've reviewed on this channel has also been added to it in secret. It's just, why make another video wasting your time to go, oh, you remember we took the legendary, the new Blue Eyes Legacy of White or whatever it was called, and we added that. And since we'd already done our 3-time structures and did something a little more open source, like, there was no need to then also say, oh, we are adding it to the draft. It was kind of a thing. So in that vein, we also wanted to do something a little different. Now, one thing Konami should have kept was the battle packs, I think, because they were just good stuff packs. But instead, you could buy some of these Dragon Shield little mini boxes. Again, you generally get, like, I don't remember if it was 8 or 10 of them in a small case. Each one holds up to 20 cards sleeved. I originally bought these thinking that I was going to store away Speed Duel decks, because, again, smaller size, smaller deck box. But what I realized was these were perfect for creating your own draft. So at that point, we're talking about going out and grabbing a collection of cards. And then you the person creating your draft format, you're going to have to be the one to figure out, okay, do I separate them by color? What does that mean? So I've clearly got black Dragon Shields. We've got red Dragon Shields. I have a set of white, green, and yellow Dragon Shields as well. So I have whatever the full bit is. I have that per each. So I've got all the colors, at least all the colors that were available at the time that I went out and bought these. And what you could do is you could recreate the battle pack experience, putting, well, maybe more than 5 cards in a booster, and then just shuffling them all up, creating a card pool that you think is fair. and adding whatever it is to it. Or, in the case of what I'm going to be doing, I've been slowly creating a card pool. Right now, it was literally just 3 cards in the card pool. And those were the 3 Ancient Egyptian God cards. I'm just going to go ahead and pull Obelisk out over here. So this was the card pool before today. So today, I wanted to show you guys what I meant. And again, this is fine. You can do this any which way that you want. I've created a card pool, including some of the new cards out of the newest set. And they've just been resting in here. So, got a card pool. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of ideas on how you could handle this yourself. So first off, if you want to throw something like gimmicky in, great. In fact, because it's gimmicky, we could even give these cards just a couple of their in-show abilities, like the fact that they are supposed to be one-ups. It's perfectly fine. Or you could insert, I don't remember. I don't know of any effect that they had in the show that hasn't been translated into a form of the card or been given to us in like a spell or a trap, or in the case of the Winged Dragon of Ra, alternate forms of the card. So again, just kind of do what you do there. New cards I'm adding Brain Controller. I think he's number 1. He's a cool little tuner. I do think that this has to be one of those things where you theme out each booster pack, and it just sort of happens that way. So this booster pack would have to have like the Brain Controller, Brain Control itself, maybe a Synchro or 2. And then like you go through the effect. If this is normal or special summon, add Brain Control from deck to hand. Pay life points, if you pay life points during your damage step, you can target a face-up monster on the field, declare level 1 to 8. That monster becomes that level. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can special summon this card to the opponent's field in defense mode with its effects negated. Each effect is only once per turn, blah, 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 is what it is. But it could be a fun one-of in order to put Brain Control into the format, because it might not be occurring in any of the decks that you obtained, and just go ahead and theme it out. They got the new Crimson Firewing Pegasus. And just real quick, I'm only going to read the part I think is relevant. If your opponent controls more monsters than you, special summon this from your hand. And if you do, you can attack directly this turn. I don't need to care about any of the rest of the text. As a one-of, this is a classic card that has had a retrain. It is a perfect card to add into a pool. And this one could be just tossed generically. Or, if you're going with the Battle Pack experience and everything's random, you could add more of these into your card pool. My card pool is going to be a little more themed with the packs. And of course, I'm only going to use one color. So I have the most of these where they are just the black ones. So those are the ones we're going to be using. Just is what it is. We got the giant Crackhorn. Again, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this from the hand in defense mode. And if you do, change the attack target to this card and perform damage calculation. I do not need to care about the rest of this. This is a card. It's got a big defense. And so Big Booty Judy here is going to go ahead and jump out of the hand at random and cause a nice wall technique. So it's a little less needy than Swift Scarecrow or Battle Fader or Gores. And it's a goofy looking monster card. It's a great way to get people to try it out for the first time. If nothing else, a player who pulls this out of one out of these little boosters, they're going to read it, like at the very least. We got the 2 Regenesis cards. Again, I just went with if a monster with 2,500 original attacker defenses on the field, you can special summon this. And then you'd only play it once this turn this way. I didn't bother to read the rest of it. They do have other effects. But they're just kind of good generic. Wicked Serpent Dragon Knight, or Wicked Serpent Knight Dragon. You can tribute a dark monster from the hand or field, which is weird to tribute from the hand, but whatever. Special summon this from the hand. You can use this effect once per turn. When this is destroyed by battle, target a monster the opponent controls, send it to the graveyard. Then you can special summon this. It's a really cool card. And again, it's just as a one-of. You may never even see it when you pull it. It's just generically good. And then a lot of the other cards in here are kind of legacy effects. So, again, I've chosen to add Osra Priest. I think as far as spirits go, being able to attack everything once in a round is generically good, and all decks should have a shot at something like that. Beast King Barbaros can normal summon it without tributing. Becomes 1900. Again, generically, this is good. Doesn't change its star level. So for high level, like 9-star synchros, if you put them in there, this may offer some form of play for that. Additionally, if you were to tribute 3 monsters to play this card, you would also be able to destroy all cards your opponent controls. So it does have a little bit of versatility to it. So it's not bad. I don't think we got to talk about Pankratops too much to know he's just great tech. And so for this type of formats, it's a good thing to be able to pull. King Beast Barbaros can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Each of the following is a once per turn. You can tribute monsters whose levels equal 8 or more to special summon this from the hand. So again, just right off the rip doing cool things. You can also banish a Barbaros monster from the graveyard or face up on the field. Target 2 cards your opponent controls and destroy them. Chances are in a draft, you're not doing that. But it is a good way to be able to board a 3K monster real quick. Link Slayer. If you control no monsters, special summons. And you can discard up to 2 cards to target spell traps to destroy them. So again, just kind of cool stuff. This dude that I can't pronounce has an ability that allows itself to special summon. So it's fine. Phantom Sky Blaster, good card from the past. You guys don't need to worry about things being banned or limited or anything. Because like a structure deck and then being able to bolster it a little bit, it's not that much advantage. We got Scapegoat here. Again, tuner that summons up a bunch of tokens. This is very cool. The Stargazer and Time Gazer, and since I'm doing like themed packs, I will put it in with at least 2 more sets. I'll probably put like 6 pendulums in there, just so that the deck that does get it will be able to play pendulums as an option. Because otherwise, it's very hard to want to play these unless they have a generic good scale effect. Vanity Fiend. I thought this was a pretty basic choice. Shuts down a lot. It would make a very strong card if pulled. Spells, we got Book. We got Cyclone. We got a Blast from the Past with Trunade. Again, this is a good card. Fun stuff. One that I'm not sure. We have Feather Duster. Heavy Storm still banned. I don't get it. I don't care to get it. But I'd like it to be semi-relevant outside of me playing Time Wizard stuff. So I threw one in here. It's good stuff. Same thing with Messenger Peace. Not all decks are going to want to attack all the time. So this is going to be something for fun. Reborn. Everybody's got about 1 million of these in their stock. Just throw one in. MST, same thing. Premature Burial, again, been banned forever. We just got him back in Speed Duel. Might as well do this. Swords, again, it's had lists where it was a powerful spell. It's had time periods where it just needed to be super limited. Putting it as a one-of in a format where you get to do something like this, not even a problem. Twisters, again, good stuff. Upstart, good stuff. Traps, we got Azarin. Azarin's okay even as a one-of because it's still a trap monster at the end of the day. Back to the Front, still good. Still good. Dimensional Barrier, kind of fun. Fair Flames. If the combined attack of all face-up monsters your opponent controls is higher than your life points, make your opponent shuffle face-up monsters they control into the deck. Their choice, except monsters with 0 attack, so the combined attack of the remaining monsters they control become less than or equal to your life points. And again, the lower you are on life points, the crazier this card goes. And again, we're probably not playing that in any other format because it really isn't that good of a trap card. We got Fiendish Golem. Again, it's good. It's basically the thing that searches out Fiendish Chains. Fiendish Chains could be in here at a later point. I got Ichiroku's Ledger Book in here. I think this trap goes crazy for a closed format where you're picking and choosing what you add. And that's essentially what it is when you do drafts. Target up to 2 monsters your opponent controls, banish them until the end phase. The opponent gains 1,000 life points per card that left the field. But maybe I got enough on board, if even with the 2K gain, that doesn't really matter so much. We got the Reflect Slime, because again, big defensive card. Torrential, good card. You'd love to see it. Everybody's familiar with it. It's one of those, like, you know real quick at a glance whether or not you're going to use it. Trap Tricks Nightmare. When a monster was special when a monster that was special summoned this turn activates its effect on the opponent's field, negate and destroy. Again, kind of self-explanatory. People are going to be doing that, even when you're only playing with starter decks. It's all good. Warning Points, fun. Zone of the Spirit, again, anybody who's played Speed Duel, you know why this guy's limited to one there. Just a fun little technique to have here. We do have some extra deck stuff, and again, I showed you a couple of stuff real quick. The reason we don't really do fusions in this right now is because fusion is very specific. Unless, of course, we make a super poly pack and put a super poly pack in, but you probably wouldn't add it to a regular draft. So that said, one with some synchros, we got a Black Rose Dragon for placing in here. Because again, it's generically good. Coral Dragon, again, decent stats, 6-star, 24, could still tune. Once per turn, discard a card, target one of your opponent's cards, destroy it. And if this synchro summoned card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. It's fine. It's good stuff. Scarlet Red Dragon Arcfiend, actually not a bad 8-star while being generic. So this is cool. Again, Xyz monsters, very generic. I do want to get some other ranks in here. But for now, we put everybody from the Stacks deck in here. Castel, Daigusto Emerald, Zeus, Giga Brilliant. I had a Tornado Dragon because this is fun. And then another thing that makes this really easy to do is the fact that a lot of Link monsters are generically okay and usually don't take specific recipes. So we can add, hero cards like the Decode Talker, generically cool things like Gravity Controller, and even cards that have been recently banned like the Nightmare Griffin. It takes like little effort to build a card pool. And then the real question is, how many of these packs are you going to make? And how do you decide how many a player draws? This could be a skill-based thing. This could be like a tournament house rules thing. Everybody picks a deck at random out of the big box of decks. Everybody gets a couple packs out of the draftables. And then it's up to you to make a deck and a side deck out of that. And then again, when you're doing this, it's good to remember that every structure deck that was ever made has a set list of cards, so you do know how to put everything back in your deck boxes full of your structures. And again, you control the card pool. So if you guys notice that every time, Jinzo gets pulled out, that player just seems to win, you can eliminate Jinzo. If you want to put Pot of Greed in there, if you want to play around with Graceful Charity, if you want to do anything from, like, here's a stack of stuff I have for the Time Wizard stuff. We put Dualities in here. We could put Blue Eyes in there. No real need to do that. Fishers could go in there. It's all fun stuff. Mask of Darkness, Cannon Soldier. Really just pick your favorite cards, guys, and just give them a whirl. And again, they could be things like Needle Wool, where maybe they're not as good normally, but in a closed format, the cards are going to overperform. You're going to be able to, just create a new experience every time you step up to the table. And then, like I said, you can get these in different colors. So for those of you who are dealing with like an excessive amount of bulk, because maybe your friends drop off a lot of commons, everybody buys boxes in your play group, everybody's been playing for years and years and years, well, build one setup and have it play like the battle packs. Place up to 3 cards of everything in there, and maybe sleeve them in their own color. And then whatever you're sleeving your draftables in, making your like themed packs, you're going to want to go ahead and match, again, just whatever the other decks are, because this like kind of, it limits marking cards, because obviously if I'm putting my deck together, you're not going to know what the cards are in, the non-green sleeve, as it were. But I do. I know what I added. So it makes it very tempting to cheat by shuffling weird, by cutting the deck so that that card ends up on the top. It's going to make your opponent want to cut to make sure that the card doesn't end up on the top, just regardless of them knowing what it is or not. And this just allows you guys to have a lot more fun. So what I'm going to do is, once I get a couple of these boosters actually made up, I'm going to show them to you guys again. There are going to be some cards that are just randomly tossed. So it's going to be, I'm going to separate this into like the random stack versus the non-random stack. Show you guys what I mean by building the boosters another day. And I don't know, just reviewing cards as they come out. Basically, we'll pick like 5-6 cards out of a set and talk about why they could be added to draft and which style of pack you'd go into, full draft or like themed draft. So for today, guys, this was the video. I really wanted to just get this out there because, again, I've got some other decks I want to, I really need to show you guys that we purchased for expanding this draft. And we want to actually do some gameplay footage where we show you guys how to draft. Basically, what we'll do is we'll pick up like 12 decks at random, separate them into 2 random stacks. We'll flip a coin or something, see who gets to choose from the side. Then we'll roll a d6. And then that'll determine our deck. So we're going to figure it out. It's going to be fun. I just wanted you guys to see like some of the cards I've chosen already. And just know that there's, like I said, 25 years worth of cards for us to select from in order to get this playing. So for now, my friends, I want you guys to go out, enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully this wasn't too weird and out of the way for you guys. I just want you guys to have a great day. That's it. Come back on tomorrow. Celestial will be cracking packs again. I think she's got some MTG Dragons of the Tarkir Storm or Tarkir Dragon Storm, whatever it was. So she's going to be doing that. I got a fun deck for you guys on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to do some more Sacred Cards. See if I can get through it this time. Yeah, that's about it. So for now, see you later. Peace.